running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking in Ovals. How's everybody doing out there on this Monday, September 16th, 2024 for episode number 106? Dave, my partner in crime, hanging out over there. My brother, what's going on?
Diamond League is over, my friend.
Yes.
We now have to wait for 2025, which I will go down and say is the biggest year, the biggest non-Olympic year in track and field history.
It could be.
Michael Johnson's league. Just saw awesome news that Ryan Krauser is planning on a launch in 2025 of an American shot put league. Say, hey, MJ, you don't want to involve us in the field? I got you. We're going to do a shot put and throwers league, which would be amazing. And what a guy to start it.
And all the competition to me is a beautiful thing because I love seeing more and more and more jumping in and doing this type of stuff because it shows a few things. One, it shows that the people are passionate about it, right? That we have a passion there. And number two, it's not like they're just going and doing, I'm starting a league with nothing, right?
No.
They're starting a league and they're getting people to watch. They're getting people to sponsor. They're getting backers. So it shows that there's interest in the league and interest in track and field. And that's what we want. Because it's going to be fun. And I'm excited to see. So before we jump into the fun stuff, everyone that is watching on X, Facebook, YouTube, hello to all of you. We appreciate you all. Give us a like, share, follow, subscribe wherever you are. Those are all important. Comments are important. All that type of stuff pushes us up in the algorithm, gets us more presentable so that more people can see what we do here. And also, we would love for you guys to let everybody know that we are here every Monday night, 9 o'clock, interviewing the best people in track and field and athletics in general, not only because they're like the fastest or anything, but because they have awesome stories. And we think that everyone needs to hear them because that's what this show is basically all about. So as I do every single week, giving a shout out to our boy, Adam and Alvin. River Rock and Run 5K registration still going on for the third annual River Rock and Run 5K. Saturday, November 16th. So it's sneaking up on us pretty soon. We're already in September. It's 2 months away.
We're almost
2 months away. Wow.
XC season's going to fly.
XC season's going to fly. So new and improved 5K course. Run it solo or with the team. You have a baton. You hand it off. Pretty cool. And all of the proceeds go to Monmouth and Ocean County Food Bank. You get some drinks afterwards. You get some food for a good cause. So go, please do that. It's always a good time. And we're about to get on people, Dave, because it is PR time, and we don't have a single PR yet. So we are going to start
early in the season.
I don't care. I do not care. Get us PRs, baby. Yeah. You know that there's some young kids doing some fast times, sophomores and stuff that are doing some things that they never did their base training like they've done this year. So I want to start giving them shout outs. So let's do that. All right. Before we jump in with our guest this week, last week we had the amazing Jim Lambert on. Never a dull moment with Jim. We had such a fun show. He's one of the best track and field reporters in all the country and a legendary old veteran track and field reporter for New Jersey Mile Split. So go get his words. It was a great time. So we want to bring in this week's guest. And we are excited for this because it's not every time that you get someone of his caliber. And I'm excited that we've gotten some of the individuals we've gotten as we're climbing that ladder of the best high school athletes, trying to get them on the show, trying to talk to them. We are pumped to have him on. He is one of the top high school throwers, the top high school discus thrower easily in the country, and a Texas commit, Benjamin Shue. What's going on, Benji?
Thank you guys for having me on today.
Yeah, we're pumped, man. So one of the things that Dave and I always talk about is we love being educated by the throwers and by the jumpers because we're two middle distance guys. We're not necessarily big, knowledge-wise. Now, we've gotten better as we've had guys like Jordan Geiston and Tanner Berg and Justin Stafford. Like, we've had some now higher profile Olympic trials athletes that we've had on. So we're getting an education about it. But we always love to bring you guys on. And we're going to start with the same question that we start with every single one of our guests. What made you want to become a thrower? And, I'm going to couch it with this. When we talk to our sprinters, we talk to our throwers, you guys typically have choices, right? Distance runners, usually a bunch of nerds with very little athleticism. So we have to go become distance runners, right? And no distance runner is going to be offended by that.
I'm not sure about that. No.
Dave, how many deals other sports could you have really went and played? Thank you. Anyway, I digress. But here's the thing. Like, your talented throwers are good in a lot of other sports, right? You're good sprinters, good in a lot of other sports. So what made you want to be a thrower? When was the spark that you were like, hey, I think this throwing thing could be legit. I actually want to commit time outside of just going to do it and out there.
Well, I guess I started throwing when I was 7, and that first year I kind of took to it pretty well. I think I already at that time I was playing football and wrestling at the time, so doing that. Both my parents did it in college, so they kind of wanted me to introduce it to me. And just that first year, I think I did place third at nationals.
Wow.
At 7-8 shot put. So kind of, I guess at that point,
How heavy is the shot put then?
2 kilograms, so like 4.5 pounds.
4 pounds,
Or
nice.
take. So I guess starting from there, I knew it was going to be something I was pretty good at, and then up through the years, obviously playing all 3 sports, going through I think placed 3 more times at nationals, and then when I picked up the discus, I remember I qualified. I was a 10-year-old competing against 11 and 12-year-olds, and I was the smallest one by far. Remembering back in, I think I got 10th when I was 10 at nationals.
Wow.
And I went back the next year and I won it in Kansas. It was my first national title, and I just remember kind of that type of feeling of just being the best was awesome. And then ended up doing it 2 years later in California with the discus again, and being able to, that year in Kansas, I wasn't able to place in the shot put, and then through that time I kind of transitioned. So being able to place in the shot put wasn't my best effort, but still placed, and then being able to win the discus, I guess kind of having that consistent reputation of being the best, and I think kind of changed my outlook, even though obviously I take all 3 of my sports very seriously.
Sure. So do you feel that having all of that success early on really was the main catalyst for, hey, this is going to be my main sport?
Yeah, I think also just the opportunities I've gotten just through recruiting and stuff. I was recruited for my other sports, but
Sure.
not to the magnitude level I have been in track.
And it's kind of cool too, because you still are playing high school football and, you're still doing wrestling, which, shout out to the Texas coaches and, all your other coaches for being cool with all that, right? Because that is always a touchy thing. I've met some high school athletes, and specifically, a lot of the football guys. Like I played against Noshawn Moreno and Donald Brown. Noshawn was a really good state level sprinter in New Jersey at the time. And Georgia was like, yeah, there's no way you're doing track. Get up here. Like football season ended. He went up there. We got in early. So, kudos to the Texas coaches for being cool with you still doing this and not going like, yeah, get on our program. You're done there. But you're still playing football. You're in football season right now. What position do you play?
Starting right guard. But with this year, they said I'm the starting right guard and pretty much the backup at every other position from tackle. I played. When we went and played IMG, I played 1 rep at center, and then I've been right guard every other play.
That was the battle at the beach, man. That was freaking awesome battle at the beach. I was a Manchester coach. I'm a Manchester alumni, and they were there 2 games before you guys playing. But yeah, battle at the beach is always fun.
Yeah, that was different environment playing against that high level team. I remember Coach Vito, our head coach, telling us because we stopped at Penn State in the way to Ohio. And he talked to Coach Franklin. He's like, yeah, that front you guys face is probably the best 7 guys in the country at that front, because I think every starting defensive lineman was a 4-star. Their 2 linebackers were 4-stars. So being how I am, it was. I held my own, obviously. I believe
because you are competitive,
Yeah.
I believe I could play to that level. Obviously, there's with recruiting with football, there's restrictions with the linemen of being offense and defensive linemen of being a certain size and weight and stuff.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a big guy, I'm not I don't stand off the charts with that stuff, but I don't discredit that.
Yeah. It's a different, obviously it's a different type of lifting, different type of weight program you're going to do for, in order to continue to be an effective thrower, right? As opposed to, if you just want to fully bulk up to be a lineman, obviously there's a difference there. So you're still doing your football thing. You're a wrestler as well. What weight class are you wrestling?
Really? 280.
We got to ask that.
Listen, you never know. Okay, maybe he limbers up for wrestling.
He's going 105 this winter.
He's going to go beat up on some freshmen. But no, that's really cool that, you're continuing to
I love that, yeah.
And it's special to Dave and I, and Dave mentioned pre-show. It's actually really cool that you chose to go in the track route because, you're at Bergen Catholic. Bergen Catholic is no joke in football. So it's not like you're getting any shortage of looks. In terms of wrestling, New Jersey is as much of a wrestling state as it is a track state. So again, if you're a good heavyweight, especially, you're getting looks, right? So choosing that sport, what was your ultimate decision? Like Dave said, was it the success that you were having? Was it the level of colleges that were coming to you in terms of each sport? What ultimately made you choose track?
It would be like you said, it would be a combination of kind of both things you said, the success and the level of colleges. Like I said, I was getting looks from I went on 2 dual visits with wrestling and track, so obviously
Nice.
those calibers were equal. It would have been and then football, I was getting the Ivy Leagues and those types of levels of the school. So I guess just the caliber of programs I was getting in the track world, and then obviously the mass success I've had with track. Obviously, I feel like I've been successful in my 2 other sports, but it's hard to compare it to how I've been in track. So I think, and obviously my goal is to be an Olympian.
Hell yeah.
So my best opportunity is to do it in track and field. So why not just chase it?
Yeah, listen, I love it. I think it's absolutely wonderful that this is the route that you chose. And I hope that more people realize the opportunities that track can provide them.
100%. And I just want to give a shout out real quick, Coach Pick, throwing up the wrestle on the big arm there. He's one of our big supporters, Manchester guy. What's going on, Coach Pick? Thanks for watching. So I also want to jump in now. So obviously you've been throwing for a long time. What have been some of your favorite memories of being a thrower? You obviously went over a few of the national championships. Do you have any other standouts from when you were young up until this point that you can maybe think of what your favorite memories, or maybe kind of, tough times that maybe taught you who to be who you are, those types of things?
I guess one most recent one that I enjoyed was this past summer. We went to USATF Nationals, and that was at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And obviously, we flew into Austin. I was able to go around UT again. I went on my official visit last fall, but able to go around again this summer. And my brother was able to be there this time because he was actually competing in nationals.
Oh, wow.
So it was cool. It was awesome to just be able to compete at something with him like that, because the last opportunity we'll be able to compete together. And then also being able to see my school and show him my school. And he pretty much went on the tour I went on my official visit. He got to see literally everything I saw and more. So I think that was a moment like that. It's obviously not the win. I won Discus, but just little things like that made the trip even better.
I love that.
So have you kind of been able to soak in the special position you're in, right? Because the caliber thrower you probably had the pick of the litter in terms of track. Like a lot of if not all the major programs are really wanting you, or a good, a good fair amount, right? That wanted you to come and throw for them. Have you had fun with the experience, or was it kind of something where you wanted to sort it out so you could focus on your senior year doing other things?
Yes, I was going to ask
that. I guess start off with obviously track. My commitment was very early compared to a lot of other kids I've seen now just taking their visits now. So I guess the first step, like you said, committing early to kind of, there's a lot that goes on in a senior season, and especially with playing 3 different sports, there's a lot going on. So being able to kind of just not get that out of the way, but being able to make my decision early and kind of just enjoy this year, I think really helped just in general with stress and stuff, because college decision is not easy. You're deciding where you're spending your next 4 years or more, and you got to trust the people that are there, and you got to trust the school you're at, and like I said, coaches, support staff, and you got to trust all that. So it's not an easy decision. So being able to really enjoy and love my decision and how early I got it done, I think it kind of helps just to enjoy my senior year.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, because we've had a few athletes on, and some of them wait till senior year. I would personally rather get it done early, kind of like you did, because I feel like you said, you can enjoy your senior year. Was there any part of you that had to deal with, because college track coaching circuit now is crazy. There's so much movement with coaches going everywhere. Did you have to make any reassurances that your coach was going to be there, or because like there's kids now who are going and then they have a different coach than when they signed. So was that something that you had to worry about, or were you just wanted to get it all done?
Well, I guess that is obviously one thing you look into, because you don't want to get to a school or commit to a school and then the coach isn't there. So
Yeah.
being able, I guess one of the big things I looked at is like a couple of the main coaches that I took high interest in, the schools I took higher interest. I didn't believe, and I talked to my dad about this, and even other guys in the throwing community, that we didn't see that those people would be moving anytime soon. So I think just being able to trust that decision and trust that the coaches will be there would be like one of the better parts.
Yeah, and like you said, now like you can just focus on your senior year, can all go into focusing on each individual sport that you have and not to worry about I have to take off to go to a college. So if you can get it done, I think what you did is perfect, but not everybody is in that situation. So I think for you though, I think it's
It's going to be
great
stellar.
choice.
It's going to be so much fun watching you over there, man. So my question is to you is, what was the criteria that you and your family obviously were looking for in a school? And then why Texas ultimately?
I think criteria. What do I want to bring up here? I guess.
I mean, it's over a year now, almost about. It's been a while since you committed.
Like,
Uh,
like were academics an important factor, or was it more day like this is the best place for me to throw? And any answer is absolutely fine.
yeah, I obviously I care. I was actually just looking at my transcripts over the 4 years, and I think my weighted average is like rounds up to a 99. So obviously,
There you go.
I care about my academics, and like I said, I playing all three sports and academics. It's not easy, but I think one thing I always try and do in my life is be the best I can at everything, and that includes school and sports. So I think academics did play a part, and I guess jumping forward is I'm going to go into mechanical engineering, in Texas, a top 10,
Nice.
Texas top 10 engineering
Hell yeah.
school in the country. So it was,
Good for you.
I guess it was looking at stuff like that. Doesn't hurt when you go somewhere like that and you get such a great education. So, and then obviously the coaches. I wanted to throw for Coach Sion for years now. So
It's good.
him recruiting me and just seeing the people he's coached and helped to where they are now, that obviously helped a lot. And then a school like Texas, I know we talked to this in the pre-show, they're number one in the AP polls now. It's gonna be some fun Saturdays.
Oh yeah, but it's amazing when you hear like I've wanted to go to that coach and to that program, and you worked your butt off to be able to make that happen. So kudos to you to having a dream, working hard, and seeing it through. That doesn't happen often. That's pretty cool.
Now, what was it like meeting the other throwers while you were there on your official visits? Was that one of the reasons also why you went there, meeting that group? Because I know when I was, obviously I was nowhere near the caliber you were of an athlete, but when I was going through some of my official visits, that played a role when I got to meet some of the athletes, and
You mean
they felt close. It felt like I was already going to be, cool with these kids, and they were on the same like vibe as I was in terms of, what we were looking for, how we were
Yeah,
going to be.
I felt like a couple of schools I went to, I felt like some schools there wasn't as many people and stuff, and other schools I felt like that like I could see myself here, and some of them were like, are these kids going to be here in 2 years? Because a couple of them are graduating, so
Yeah.
I get this relationship with them now. But when I get on campus, they're not here, and then who is going to be here? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess being at Texas, being able to bond with the throwers, I was doing different things, and I feel like I could have seen myself with those guys. And obviously, there's more guys that got there now who I've communicated with throughout the summer.
Nice.
Kids that are there as freshmen now, and I'll spend at least 3 years with them. So I think building those relationships, hopefully being able to see them. I talk about this more. My goal is to go to Texas Relays this year. So being able to obviously see them all down there and watching them compete is gonna, obviously I'll probably do stuff with them too, being down there. So
yeah.
just like you said, I could see myself with them, and obviously I am going to be with them now. So that obviously is back in my head. Like I'm going to spend a lot of time with these people. So can I get along with them and stuff? And with the group that was there and the group that's there now, I think I can, and I will.
Definitely. That's lots of fun, man.
That just makes me smile. Like just seeing like where you are in your life and so many opportunities that you have ahead of you. It's fantastic.
So I want coach to put his earmuffs on for a second if he's watching or listening. But when you're watching Texas play football, when are you going to sit there and go, maybe I'll do a walk-on tryout that week? Are you? Is that like maybe I'll just go? You know, they're open.
Stuff,
I know exactly what that date is.
I will be honest. When we went and played out in Ohio, we played the number 1 team in Ohio. They won 18 games straight.
Oof.
They were ranked 24 in the country at the time. We were 23, and I had a really, really good game. And then Coach Vito, our head coach, went up to me. He's like, Ben, you had like the best game of your career. And I've had some good games, but I felt like I had a really good game this game. And then kind of had some football schools actually reach out to me. And he's like, maybe talk to them because maybe down the road, who doesn't know, maybe it'll open up an opportunity to be a preferred walk-on at Texas. And that's something, I guess, I know how tough it is doing it at the high school level, and I know how much tougher it would be at the college level. Yeah. So it's something I've thought of. It's something I think I could do with the level of football I'm playing at now. It's not like I'm going from small public school football to
you're
that. It's like we said when I went to IMG there was 4 4-star defensive linemen, I think maybe 5 on the defensive line, and 2 more linebackers. So seeing that, it's not like I'm not used to it in the league we play in North Jersey. I've faced a few Division I commits, so just it's not like that's not a possibility. Obviously, that would be hard, really hard, and I know I've had talks with Coach Flo about just at my visit, but my dad more brought that up, but it would probably
that's what dads do, man. That's what dads do.
It would probably be later down on the line until I improve myself in the NCAA level with throwing.
Hey, the one thing they will know is you have great feet. All throwers that do a good spin have great feet, so they're not going to worry about your kick step. That's not one thing that they're worried about, or you pulling and getting to where you need to be. So there's that. So I'm always stirring up drama. That is just what I do. I stir up the controversy. So now we're looking at, you mentioned the competition, getting to the NCAA level and things like that. How much of a difference is it when you're competing in New Jersey, you're competing, in the state level at our, the conferences, counties, sectionals, groups, and then you start to step up and you go to some of these national meets and you go, you're going and throwing at some of these higher level meets. How much different is the competition that you're seeing at the national?
Not much.
What we're getting at the state.
Well, I guess the past few years,
not much.
The state to national level, I was last year I was 1-2 at states and nationals in New Balance with Fabian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Last year, and then this year I was 1-2 at states with Josh, 1-2 at states at nationals. So I guess when you're competing against the same kid at states than you are at nationals, obviously both years it's been like a 3-day difference. So I guess when you're competing against those kids in state and then seeing them nationally, it's not that much of a difference, obviously, when you're competing against the same guys. So
pretty cool though. I mean,
is it fun that you're going and you're seeing each other? It's like we're not teammates, but now we're out here, Jersey Pride. Like, let's show out. Is that kind of a moment there?
Obviously, there's the competitiveness,
of course,
to win. But it's I guess if you're the best in state and then you're the best in national, so that's I guess that's one thing that helps.
Yeah. So I mean, all of that competition. Like a lot of kids say, "Oh, like I can't," when I compete in my state, it like doesn't get me ready for nationals. You can't say that because you have great competition here. So in that sense, it's awesome, that you get to compete every single week with top-notch throwers.
Yeah, and I think
keeps you on your game.
To build off that is, I've me and my dad finding these meets and stuff, and kind of pushed the limits with the competition. Like obviously New Jersey's competitive, but then past 2 years I've gone out to Arcadia then obviously Penn Relays for 3 years now, and then this Puma East Coast Classic this past year had the winner of the shot put at Penn Relays, who's also a U20 world finalist, and a couple other Jamaican throwers that stayed. So just competitions like that where I'm seeing these competitors that I'm going to see NCAA world level someday.
Yeah.
So being able to compete against them now and not shying away from that competition, being able to compete at those highest moments, I think helps.
Yeah, because that'll only get you ready because you're going to be seeing these same kids for a long time. So,
Yeah.
it's good that you guys, are at it now because, you're going to learn different strengths and weaknesses. I think it's great. I mean, this whole thing with you and like the fact that New Jersey is, I mean, we're probably on the map in the throws more than anywhere else current moment. I mean, we have it's unreal what you guys have been doing to keep the level of throws in this state at such a high level. I mean, now like you throw 50 feet now, it's like, when I was in high school, 50 feet was a good solid throw. Now, like so many kids are throwing 50. It's just a great to see how the sport has evolved and how kids, you might not have every kid every year throwing it great, but you have so many more kids that are competitive.
What's that been like for you seeing all these kids jumping in there and being more competitive? Has that kind of made you elevate your game knowing that you can't take a throw off, you can't take a meet off, like you always have to throw at your best because one of these kids might come and surprise you?
Yeah, I think that's, I guess, obviously there's some meets where you're like, oh, okay, I throw a half decent throw, I'm okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely.
I think I take every meet. Obviously, there's meets you take different in your mental headspace of from nationals to a dual meet. But
Sure.
my PR earlier in the year was from a dual meet, so just
Awesome.
things tend to happen like that. So
Yeah.
I I, I look at it as every time you get to throw in a meet, it's not a chance, an opportunity to compete, and a chance, an opportunity to be able to PR and to better yourself. So I think I enjoy every single throw I get and being able to throw, enjoying with like even Bergen County attracting large crowds and being able to throw in front of those people and kind of put on a show or be a showman.
Hey.
One part I kind of enjoy from
Good.
with throwing is that you're the only one at the time. It's not like a race where there's 8, 9 of you jumps and throws. There's one person going at a time. So when someone's watching, they're only watching you.
We need more individuals like you in all the sport that want that spotlight though. And I've talked about this all the time is we have too many of the big, strong, stoic types. Too many of those individuals. Let's go in there. I'm going to let my talent do the talking. And it's like, no, be a little demonstrative, have a little fun. Do you think that being a football player and being a wrestler where you kind of need that edge gives you a little more when you get in that? Because like you pancake someone, you're standing over him for a second, right? Like it's just something you may be saying a few choice words. In wrestling, you tech fall someone, you get a quick pin, you're showing some emotion, right? Has doing those things and being successful there kind of made you that person you are when you're throwing and you do something good and you're actually showing emotion, not just like cool, I did it and walking away?
Well, I will say this: I'm not with throwing. I'm not the most like showing of my emotions. Like when I get a throw I like, I might give a little fist bump or like a little like one of these or something, which I kind of stay focused. And I think going off to what you said with the football and wrestling, I take that aggressive approach into the throwing, which I don't think as many people as you would think do, because people don't equate those as much. But
Right.
I think that's one thing that's helped me is that aggression and that channeling of the energy towards obviously throwing the ball, throwing the discus is, I think, it's helped me.
Yeah, definitely. And I can imagine there's so many people that are worried about technique more than aggression. And if you mix the both, I
Sure.
think that's when you get to another level, right? When obviously you're always worried about technique. Throws are such a technique oriented thing.
Absolutely.
But when you're able to be confident enough in your technique that now you're able to be aggressive, it's similar, I think, to like golf, right? Everyone tries to focus on just hitting it the same way. But then you have Tiger Woods who just doesn't care and he's just swinging as hard as he can, or some of the other golfers. And that's the difference between
Because
your
they're
guys with true
that
talent.
the technique's gonna be
Yeah.
there, so now they can have the aggression. Is that true?
Yeah, I believe so. I guess I like in my approach to a meet, I like having a calm, technical first throw. Just to a lot of meets, obviously throws like that'll get me into finals when there is finals. So being able to have a throw like that and then building off that, adding more speed, more aggression to that same mental like thought of that throw and being able to have that correct technique and being able to build off that, I think really helps. And obviously going from smooth to giving it your all,
A little more violent.
a little more violent, still keeping that technique though helps.
You know, and I don't think I ever asked this to any of the other throwers you've had on the show, but I'm going to ask you this. Throwing is mental. A ton of it is mental, right? Because if you get in your own head or something like that, you can have a rough day. There's a lot of mental to that, because especially if, like, you're not having your best day. What's that like when you're at a higher level competition? Have you had those moments where you're sitting there and you've had, 2 fouls and you're just like, crap, this ain't going well. I got to do something. I got to get a throw in. I got to at least get a distance in. Like, what is that like? And how do you kind of work through those types of things? Because, again, we're runners. We have the gun. We go, cross the line. That's it. Whatever we did, we did. You have opportunities to sit there and think about what you just
in
did.
between throws. Yeah.
It's kind of like when your parent yells at you and it's like, think about what you just did. Like, you have those chances right there. So what is that like when maybe you haven't had your best throws or you've been fouling and it's just getting tough? How are you able to power through those things?
Well, I guess 2 accounts just from this year, from Arcadia and New Balance Nationals, both in the discus. Both those times going into the last throw, I was in second place. I think Arcadia, I took the lead for like the first 2 rounds, and then rounds 3, 4, 5, and all the way up to me at 6, I was in second place, and I wasn't feeling my technique was the best. Obviously, with Arcadia and New Jersey's season, it was a week
very early
season.
Yeah,
while
so early.
California's been a month and a half, 2 months into it. So
It's
obviously,
crazy.
those technical things weren't all there. So I kind of just stepped back. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to lose this. I told myself, I remember, I'm not going to lose this. I can't do this. I can't lose. So I kind of just got in there and I kind of just mustered one up, and I think it was like, what was it exactly? 200 feet, 3 inches.
Ooh.
So throwing 200 that early in the season, being able to do it in that fashion, I think coming from behind, and I think that's one thing I pride myself on, which is stressful and makes my dad grow extra gray hairs and life is stuff like that. And then adding on to that same situation happened again at New Balance Nationals. Different kids. It was a really weird competition. I think they had 5 flights, 4 or 5 flights.
Oh, wow.
Starting at, what time did we start that day? I think 1 o'clock we started. Yeah, we started around 1 o'clock. And it was around, I think, 5 o'clock when my flight warmed up.
That's too many flights. Jesus.
And it gets even better. By the time my flight, the first kid was about to enter the circle to start his throws, there was a lightning delay.
Oh,
about an hour and a half. So no throws happened for this last flight. So we have that. We have the hour and a half delay. We come back. I think the lead at the time was 190, which stayed until the 6th round.
Wow.
And we came back, warmed up. I think I had my energy drink at the time, so I was crashing towards that point because it wasn't easy. But things were going up. My dad went to ran and grab towels because it was wet, and then he came back late and went through. I think I put myself in the second, in the first or second round. It was like a 180, high 180s, and through that kind of improved a little bit. Nothing crazy, and I was looking at myself. Like I said to myself at Arcadia, I can't do this to myself. I did the same thing in Arcadia. It was a little. I think the winning throw at the time was 196, so it was even higher. This throw was 190. I'm like, every meet that's this past year that was without weather conditions, no rain or anything, I've thrown over 190. So I'm like, it's in my fingertips. I know I could throw that. So it was that same moment as Arcadia where I'm in second place going into my last throw. And obviously I still have to wait for this person to throw again, but being able to throw that and being able to, I think I threw 200 feet, 6 inches of that one. So being able to throw 200 again at a big meet and being able to win, be clutch on my last throw, I think really shows a testament.
I love that grit. That is just pure grit and not wanting to lose. I love it.
So, Alex, to answer your question, when he feels pressured, he's a badass.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I have to say, too, nothing, if I was a thrower, nothing would probably get under my skin more
Then
Then when I feel like a good throw, and then all of a sudden it goes out, I would be like, I wasted my good throw. Like, do you have those moments where like you're sitting there and that throw just feels beautiful coming out of your hand, and then you see it veering towards the out, and then
or
it
your
goes
foot
out and it's
steps
a foul?
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple times. I got two.
Go for it.
Starting with nationals, there was at the time I think the decathlon javelin was going at the same time, and you guys probably know with the UPenn throwing sector, the javelin and the discus intersect.
Yes.
So and it was dark out at the time, so I was throwing down that left sector, and the guy was scared to stand over there, and I know for sure because my cross country and distance coach for Bergen Catholic was out there retrieving discuses for us, and he was out there. And he's like, yeah, the guy was mismarking and scared to even walk over there. So I knew there was a couple over there, and there was another one. The official said I skimmed the
Towboard.
the discus, yeah, the ring, toe board,
Right.
and there was about 5 kids that like, where'd you foul that? Where'd you foul that? And that would have probably been the winning throw, but I guess things like that, it's being able to regroup and
And
then
your own competitors are going, where'd you foul? That kind of
Yeah.
that should be like, can they file the protest for me?
yeah, and
Oh man.
I
No,
guess
but it's-
continuing on to that. Sorry,
Yeah.
but
No, go.
states, there was a really questionable call with where we were at. There was a raised ring, so it was metal raised up, not like obviously every single other major competition I've gone to where it's the rings in ground, and the official called a foul at the back of the ring, said I pushed off, which in the rule book, the rules are you could push off, but you can't have your heel touch the ground. And so he called it a foul, and the only way he was able to see it was because being a lefty, he was over that side and he was being able to see it. And there was even a ton of people that like messaged my dad posting like, can you see the foul? And a lot of people said no. And then I think the best was the Jamaican college throws coach, who we got to know from that Puma meet, was like, that is not a foul, and then sends the exact rule in the rule book that wasn't a foul. And then even like the head official, who I've known from competing at Penn Relays, was like, yes, that official was reprimanded for that. So, and that throw was far. I know they had a 70-foot line out there, and it wasn't too far off that.
Wow. Jesus. So I want to throw in our buddy Darren Peters. He watches our shows all the time. Jumping in with this one, saying Coach Zeb and Val being Olympians makes Texas a dream training location. Absolutely. And then he has a question for you, Benji. Darren asks, have you practiced with the 2 kilogram discus yet? And when in the season will you start with heavy implements?
Well, I guess with competing at U20s years past, I've thrown later in the season with the 175, which I think will help me transition a little better to the 2K. I've used it a little bit here and there, nothing crazy, but one thing I think we're going to focus on the 2K a lot more this year, so making that transition to college would be a lot easier. And one of my goals in the back of my head is to qualify for USA Championships this year in the discus, which obviously it's not easy and it's going to be extremely tough, but
Got this.
I think that's a pretty good goal to have. And
Goals, yep.
so it's going to be something I'll probably be working towards. So I think I don't do as much throwing during football and track season. I mean, during football and wrestling season. So I think that's one thing that I even like you mentioned, being with Coach Zeb.
Yeah, next year.
That fall next year, I'm just going to be doing drills and lifting.
Yeah.
It's going to feel different, but it's going to be for the better. So I'm going to get a full year of throwing, not just 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing to attest that I think I'm really looking forward to almost out of anything, is just being able to take a whole year round.
Full year training, yeah.
Not just
Yep. And Darren comes back real quick. As a track and field official, it's impressive to see that you know the USATF rules. Hope you join us as an official when you eventually retire. I do it eventually. Darren recruiting all the time. I love it. But with that being said, I think as a mechanical engineer, as long as like you settle in, you could definitely go be an official on the side. So throwing that out there. And we definitely probably need more field and throwing officials that know the rules like you do, so they won't call that push off. See? Darren, I think you've done a good job recruiting.
So Benji, I have a question, and it's kind of a weird one. It's more from New Jersey based. So we don't have the hammer throw in New Jersey. Is that something that is even brought up on a recruiting trip? Like, have you ever thrown it? Is it something that you plan on throwing,
Or in
is it
Texas in general too. Are you
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about it?
Or like, is it something that you've ever done? Do you have any intentions? 'Cause I always wonder how that comes about to a state where they don't throw it. Like, how does a college coach even know what their talent is? Or
I guess I've had a lot of different. I think it's been raised with my mom in college. Actually, did the hammer throw and still has the weight and hammer throw record at her college.
heck yeah,
Nice. Go mom.
heck yeah.
So I think that's one thing. Obviously, it's tough to do two. So doing three, it's a lot, and obviously not being able to do it in high school hurts, and not starting. Obviously, it's something I've talked and maybe thought about doing, but I don't think that's something that's really like on the forefront. And
Right.
Coach Deb hasn't really brought that up. So
Okay. I
don't
was just curious how that, because like we had a girl from Donovan, Alyssa Wilson, who was amazing, and she ended up almost going exclusively hammer throw. But I think she might have dabbled in it in high school some too. But I was just curious, like, because it's not a common high school event, so I was just curious if that's something that coaches discuss with their athletes, because you might even get to the point yourself where you're going to have to choose one.
And we had Jordan Geist on, who does at
Yeah.
professional level.
Who does both
shot
hammer and disc
and no, he does shot, right?
I'm sorry,
Hammer and
shot,
shot. So it's like
shot and hammer.
it's possible, but he even said on the show, like, my training is different than everybody else because hammer, you obviously want to be a little more lean because it's a different type of technique where he's also trying to like. So I'd imagine that definitely is something difficult. And honestly, you're getting to the point where it's like trust Coach Zeb, right?
Yep.
Coach Zeb is, if he sits there and looks and says, "Hey Ben, dude, let's put a hammer in your hands and see what it looks like," you'll probably say, "Yes, coach," right? Like that's going to be like, "Sure, let's find out." So that's going to be exciting stuff. I can't wait to see what you do when you get over there. But you have 2 more seasons ahead of you. So what is your planning going into this track season look like with, coach and everything? Like, when do you guys officially get started? Does it really depend on if you
When
end up in
football ends?
Atlantic City and, for wrestling? Like, so what is,
I tried wrestling.
yeah, because wrestling obviously is the one that's going to push you back. If
Yeah.
I'm
you're
just
in
I'm thinking
AC, that's
indoor and
different.
outdoor. No, you're right.
Yeah.
So you don't even throw indoor track. Nice.
I usually, for the past few years, it's been one indoor meet a year, one or two, give or take, and it's been indoor nationals only the past few years. And
Nice.
last year, I think, was my first year of really succeeding at indoor nationals. Like the 2 years prior, it wasn't that I wasn't prepared. I just, for some reason, I wasn't able to compete and stuff. And this past year, I took a big leap in the right direction, and I think that really helped with early in the outdoor season. And I guess this year, being with Nike Elite and
Yeah.
being able to compete at Nike Nationals and being pretty much my backyard, New York City. So that's obviously where I'm going to be competing for indoors, and most likely my first meet of the indoor season will be nationals.
So what are your prospects for wrestling? Are we looking for Atlantic City? Where are you ranked as a heavyweight in the state?
Right now I'm number 2 in the state, and the one I
So
think
that's one of those things. As a track coach, you're looking at it going, "I'm not going to get Benji till after AC anyway. He's more than likely going to be wrestling in one of the coolest freaking locations." Have you
That's a hell
wrestled
of a
in
meet,
AC
man.
before?
Yeah,
That's a hell of a meet. That's
So
a great
much
meet.
fun.
I've placed 4th there the past 2 years. So being able to, I remember going there for years and then being able to finally compete there. And as a sophomore, I was the 19 seed, and I remember the second day or the second match of the first day, I was going against the 3 seed, and I was able to upset him. So that was just
Awesome.
it was an awesome, because obviously I would always fill out the brackets and stuff when I was younger. So being
Yeah,
able to see myself as the 19 seed, I ended up
that's
making
cool.
semis that year, and being able to see like the 19 seed myself into the semis was pretty awesome seeing that.
We have the pride of Manchester, Jimmy Lawson, who was a absolute monster,
Three-time
at
heavyweight champ.
3-time heavyweight champion, national champ, ended up in freaking Fargo constantly. So it's like it's really cool just to like, I like wrestling, Dave likes wrestling. So it's like,
Yeah.
even though it's a track show, we still love our wrestlers. So
Listen.
that's got to be like, as like a coach, as an outdoor coach or whatever, as your throwing coach, it's obviously like a problem because I know I'm not getting you until after that. But from a pride standpoint, it's like, you know what, Benji, go kick some ass, make
Yeah,
national
listen,
asshole.
like,
Like,
can you
go do
imagine
it all.
winning states in heavyweight wrestling and then outdoor track? That could be cool, man.
So is that a goal? Is that the goal? Win the state in wrestling and also
I wrestled the kid who won states last year. I wrestled earlier in the year, and the one match was 2-1 against him, and
nice.
Things go different ways. I think I win that match, and I chose to hit some moves at the states that I probably shouldn't have hit in the state quarterfinals, and then wrestled back to fourth. So I think treating things different this year, hopefully to be in the state finals and win a state title.
Man, you're juiced up at states, though. It's different in AC. You're all juiced up. You could do anything when you're there.
Yeah.
So to transition quickly, we talked a little bit briefly prior to the show about you have an awesome story where you met one of your idols, one of the greatest throwers in history. What was it like meeting Joe Kovacs, and how did that all come about? And how was he like?
Let's start with we were out in Oregon for USA Under-20s USA Championships at the same time. This was my freshman year, so 3 years ago now, right about. And I competed. I think I got 9th in the competition, competing against a bunch of kids that were in high school, a bunch of guys that were college freshmen at the time.
That's
so
awesome.
it was. I think I threw too much the day before, so I wasn't able to compete at the level I was. But that's obviously not what you guys are asking about. But
that's okay.
It's okay.
Joe was actually having a meetup at Duluth, and it was actually like right around the corner from my hotel. I know that day women's shot put was happening, so we were able to stop in there and talk to him and stuff, and he knew who I was from my throwing and stuff, and being able to talk to him and just about his experiences, and it was really cool to see. And then I guess also you look at the guys like Ryan Krauser, Payne Otadero, Leonardo Fabri. These guys are humongous, 6'8" plus, just massive human beings. Then you look at a guy like Joe, who's a little over 6 foot. It helps to see, because obviously, like you guys mentioned pre-show, how strong he is, but he's not a freak of nature in that sense. He's a freak of nature in the weight room, but his physical stature is, I guess, someone like me who is a tad bit smaller in the throwing, like pro scene. I think that helps give confidence, and that's one thing that him being from Pennsylvania. My dad's actually from kind of the same area of Pennsylvania, so being able to, I guess, that relationship and things along those lines, I think really like shapes that kind of idolization, and then being able to meet him and being able to relate with him and being able to talk with him, and it's a pretty cool experience.
It's always cool when the people that you look up to, when you meet them and they live up to it, you know, like they're not jerks or anything. And the fact that they told us that he talked to you for like 30 minutes, like what a great guy. Like he didn't have to do any of that. Like that's just shows. And I just love seeing that in the sport, because we all need to give back and to help out those who are coming. So that's just a great story.
And you know what, too? I don't think you have to worry about being like much smaller for a long time, because once you hit a college lifting program, it is a different world, and you're going to be over at Texas. World-class facilities, world-class training programs for, your weight room coach and things like that. So obviously you'll have a specific weight room coach for track and field and things like that. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about being tiny when you get to the pro level. I think
all of us
up and ready to go.
I think all of us would love to be as small as Benji is.
I always made the joke, like, I want to be as big and as ripped as the smallest guy in 300, the movie 300, because we're all just like massively jacked human beings. But, so Benji, we are obviously pumped. We're going to be living vicariously through you as Jersey guys, just, watching your success this year, and really excited to see what you do in Texas and how you develop. When you're looking now at all of these pro leagues popping up, whether it is, Grand Slam obviously doesn't have throwing yet, but I can't see them keeping throwing out. But you have Ryan Krauser creating his league. With all the opportunities, it's not just Diamond League anymore, right? It's not just maybe go throw at the ATL and maybe they won't know me too much, but it's like there's these opportunities popping up for you to go in, and in these next, when you get into college, if you start throwing well in college, you'll be able to go compete at some pro meets, right? So as you see these opportunities popping up to make some money, and obviously going to Texas, the NIL is not out of the realm of possibility, especially if you have success early. Has it been exciting for you as a track fan, just seeing all the interest in track and field? And do you feel like you're stepping into this situation at the right time?
I think, yeah, I would agree with that. With obviously track and field isn't the easiest sport to,
Go
at
pro
least
and no.
the throwing level. It isn't the easiest sport to go pro and make a living off of. But I guess going into how it is with, like you mentioned, NIL being how it is in today's world, it hasn't hit track as much as it per se sports like football, but it is there. And if you know how to market, my dad says, if you know how to market yourself,
Your
that'll
dad's
help
like
a
a good
lot.
guy.
So being able to do things like that, and obviously leagues popping up, like Ryan wants to start the Shoppa League, which I was looking at a few days ago, saying I think I could see myself in something like that, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
that helps, and I think that gives more eyes to the sport. And what I think my personal view was, I've been obviously following throwing for a while, and the past few years I've been following it more and more, and I think watching the World Championships, it's followed a lot, but with it being an Olympic year this year, it is followed and covered so much more in America,
Mhm.
which obviously with the media in America, it's humongous, but it was followed so much more that it's shows how big the sport is. Obviously, it's every 4 years instead of every year, but it's followed a lot more. And then obviously, like you said, the Diamond League is huge and on TV here once in a while.
And
Yeah,
I think
that
it's part of our goal to change that. That's
yes.
what, we're a small show at the moment, but our goal is to have success, and our success is to get more people to know who you are, right? To know who Benji Shue is, to know that you're going to be a monster and you're going to do all these great things for the sport. And to make sure that all of you guys, not only they don't see your success, but they know who you are. They hear your story,
And
why
that you
you're
guys
doing.
never have to work a day in your life, that you
That's
can
our
have
goal.
this
Yes.
as your job and your career just like every other sport. That's what we want.
So I'm going to give you the idea that I gave some of the other throwers, and I think you should do it. When you get to Texas, do you want to market yourself? Go find the star running back and figure out if he was a thrower or something in high school, and put it on Instagram and just have a shot put, just throw a shot put with him, just impromptu, just on the field. Just be like, hey, here, can you throw this further than me? And just do it.
Put it on
And
social
that's
media.
that's when, just like sit there, throw those things on social media. Take some on a lineman who maybe were like state level throwers. And it's like, cool, you're a state level thrower. Can you beat
I'm
me?
gonna crush you.
And I think that would be fun to like put yourself, and it would be like a fun thing. I don't think any of the football players would be like offended if they come and compete against you, right? But that could be something fun to show, like, hey, we consider these guys some of the best athletes on the planet. Here I am at my sport doing better. And I could be with them as well because I was a damn good football player too. But I think those could be like some marketable ideas. But I think you're gonna do just fine in that department, because go for it, Dave.
I just have one more thing. You've mentioned your father a lot. I have never met him, but it seems like he's an integral part of your life. So how has he been as a mentor? I don't know if he's ever coached you or not, but like, what has that been like? Because you've mentioned him a lot, and I just love seeing positive, kids relationships with
I
their parents.
guess throughout the years, he's kind of been my coach with throwing and stuff, and I think he's learned even more with just helping and coaching me to get to the level that I'm at. Because obviously, he was a decent thrower. I'm not gonna try and insult him, but he wasn't. He didn't have
Dave
the.
was trying to get like the whole entire heartfelt thing, and here's Benji going, "Yeah, Dad's a good coach. He kind of sucked." What do you?
No, he
It
didn't
wa-
say that.
it was not even that. It's just I guess the more to where I am now. He was a glider in high school and
Right.
college. He tried, so I guess picking the brain of the certain coaches that
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got to know through the years, and using all that to gain his mental wealth of ability and track
Yeah.
and throwing, I think really helped. And then having someone like that to bounce stuff off of, and having someone that could coach me along those lines, I think really helps.
I love it. I love seeing, parents, take interest kids sports. It's always good. And
It is.
especially track, because track is this like coaching track, I was like, oh, it's great because the parents have no idea, so you can kind of do what you want. Whereas other sports, parents like micromanage. So it's cool because the fact that not many parents know track, but the fact that both of your parents threw, was that something that you felt any pressure as a kid because I'm not saying from them, but like any internal pressure because your parents threw, or is this something that you just kind of found on your own?
I think it was just something that kind of they signed me up for it and helped me for it, but I didn't feel any pressure
Good.
through that. I think being able to succeed. I remember joking with my mom because she had like I said, she had the records, and I think I competed at Icon Stadium when I was, I think, 9 or 10, and I broke like one of the stadium records for that, and I think I also broke like one of my youth league records. So we kind of always joked that at the time we both had two records of sorts, and then I don't know how many I have now, but
And Mom, I'm only 9.
yeah, I think that was one of the arguments of mine at the time. She's like, yeah, I know, but you can't. Yeah, I guess.
You're like, Mom, I got mine when I was 9. So
Yeah,
and then I guess it's obviously changed a lot to now, but
sure.
I think I didn't feel any pressure
Good.
with them being that. I think it was when it started, it was fun, and then obviously it got a lot more competitive to where it is now.
Well, I mean, because it sounds like you don't need anybody else to give you fuel. You have enough that you need from within your own self, which provides you all of the, enthusiasm to go train every day and to compete. It's just always nice seeing parents that are involved for all of the right reasons. So I love seeing that.
yeah, absolutely. And it seems like you have two great parents that obviously support you. And another thing it's nice to see is that as they support you, though, they're not pushing you to one thing. They're allowing you to be you. Go play football, do wrestling, do track, and choose where you want to go, which is a beautiful thing. They're supportive. They want you to do your best. They'll help you in any way they can, but they're letting you make your decisions as a young man. So that is, to me, model and as good as you can get. So I'm going to ask you one last thing before we let you get out of here, and we appreciate you basically giving us the better part of an hour. This is a question when they ask most of our guests. So you've been involved in track and field in some capacity for a long time now, a decade about, right? If there was something that you could change about the sport that would bring more casual fans in, that would make it more of a lucrative sport for when you get to the pro level, what would you change about it?
I guess there's a little different, like you said, from the sprinters to the throwers, and I think Ryan Krauser being in a lot more of those commercials in the Olympic year, I think helped just put more eyes on the throwing event, just because the promotion he's gotten, just because of how good he is. I think put a lot more eyes on just shot put, but I think just showing a little more personality and being able to show that more, I think would help. I don't think there's not a lot you could do. Like, I know one thing Nike's done at Nationals, it's the shot put showcase where it's like a bracket style. I know something like that, like at a big meet, might like draw more attention because it's one and done, and it's like I know the whole thing with the Michael Johnson's thing is fast and TV viewership, and throwing in field events is longer and stuff. I think something like that where it's a one and done, and whoever wins that round moves
Okay.
on. I think that would help get more eyes.
It's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I do like that.
Stealing it from Nike Nationals, but I think it's something that if they did put it on a more wide major scale, I think that would help casual viewers watch it because it's a lot more face-to-face, head-to-head.
Yeah.
It's not like you're competing against a field of 8 to 10. You're competing against one guy.
And you can kind of come in and like if you have like a ranking system, right? Like if it's like you come in and this thing and boom,
it's a bracket, so that's cool. Yeah.
And then maybe when you get to finals, you could do best out of 3 instead.
That's the first meet
there, and that's pretty dope.
That's the first that we've heard that, and I like it because I mean, you're right. Like I think that is the reason why Michael Johnson said, he doesn't want it because 3 throws and then finals. So I do think that would, I mean, I don't like it. I think they should show everything because it's a great event.
Agreed.
But
I mean, but that would be cool though. If you're sitting there, you're watching the bracket and it's like, all right, are we going to see Kovacs and Krauser for the 3rd straight week in a row go for the shot put championship at this meet? Like, That's a sick idea, Benji. That
And
is
I
an
think
original idea that you stole. That's your original idea
And
now.
I think you can like you'll be able to like feel the pressure. Like you get one throw. Like it's not like, oh, like I have like that's it. One throw and done. And or advance. I like that.
I like that a lot. Nice, nice, awesome. Thank you, Nike Nationals, for giving that idea to Benji, and now it's officially his. We are claiming that as his and his alone now. But so before we jump out of here, you wanted to give a promotion to both Nike Elite and Fast Training. Kind of give them a little bit of a shout out.
So I guess Fast, I started training there when I was 7 or 8, like right around the same time I started throwing. And it's at that time it was speed and agility and a little bit of strength training. And I think it really helped to model the athlete I am. And I trained off and on there for years and years in high school and youth. And I think that just helped train me. And actually, my brother just started 2 weeks ago training there. And I think
Nice.
that's one thing that's going to really help him too, help leap levels in track. And it's something that I thank for being able to do that, to being able to be the athlete I am today. I think starting that young and being able to do that when I was younger, I think really helped.
Definitely.
And then with Nike Elite, it was such an amazing opportunity to be on right now, and being with the Nike Elite program this year, and the opportunities I've had so far by getting flown out to Nike World Headquarters and going through an awesome 3 days with some of the best high school athletes in the country.
It's amazing.
And the world. So being able to just start off like that and being able to get hooked up the way I am with Nike gear and stuff, and going towards being able to compete at, they'll be competing at Nike Indoor and Outdoor Nationals, and helping me get to other events like Text Relays in Arcadia and such.
That's fantastic. And and I love that Nike does do that. They do reach out, they grab some of the best athletes, and they give you guys true opportunities to be successful. So as much, crap I think as Nike gets at times, they do some positive.
Yeah.
And this is, definitely one of the things. They notice the talent, they give you guys every opportunity to succeed when they do bring you on to Nike Elite. So that is fantastic. So Benji, thank you so much for jumping
Yes.
on, man. You're awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
So once
best
again,
of
yeah, go
luck.
ahead.
It's.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's just always great seeing a kid your age who's had immense success, but still has a good head on his shoulders, still knows that you're nothing without hard work and just the fact that you're out there. I love that you're playing 3 sports, and we're going to be rooting for you all season, and nothing but the best.
You're going to have 2 public school boys rooting for the parochial kid, okay? Rooting for the private school kid. So we're rooting for you, man. So definitely go follow Benji on Instagram at BWS91205. Don't miss out. Don't follow him late, because he's going to blow up when he's winning national titles at Texas. You're going to wish you were following him. And also go follow him on X at Shue BWS91205. Once again, you're going to see him. He's going to be blowing up. He's already is one of the best throwers in the country. And he's going to end up being a fantastic pro. As for us, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Facebook, X, YouTube, everywhere. Go follow us at Talking in Ovals. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Coach Pick, thank you. We appreciate you. And